it's Alex, and well, I've just done a video. I've just done some filming of me doing the carburettor on the Herald, but now, there it is. Now I need to look at the ignition switch. So I thought I'd do that in a separate video, because otherwise it's just going to be too long, isn't it? So first things first, amongst all these modern Rover things that are all dead, I'm going to have a look in the garage, because I think somewhere I've got an ignition switch that we might be able to use. If not, we can fit like something like this P4 starter button, something to start it up, you know, something groovy. So the ignition switch in the Triumph, the ignition comes on, but when you turn it to crank, it doesn't crank. It used to, and then it became intermittent and you had to keep trying it and then it would work. But now it's just not doing it at all. So either the switch is faulty or it's the wiring. And I'm wondering if I undo this bezel, if the switch will come out enough for me to see it, so I don't have to take all this dash off. I'm going to put this cloth around here. Remi's come and brought the tea. Hang on. Hello.
Hey.
Oh.
Well done.
I've got to be careful not to damage the wood or anything. Oh, I'm 30 again. Thank you. I'm 30, yay! I love the way that I'm out here fixing his bloody car. Well, if I didn't do it, he'd just keep driving it around, having to open the bonnet to start it up, which is just a pain in the bum, isn't it, really? Now here we go. It's coming undone. It's coming undone. Coming undone, coming undone, coming undone. Rubber wash has seen better days. Oh yes, look at that. There we are. So, excuse me. All the wires look good. It's not all furry. This is the wire for the radio that was in here. That can come off. That's handy. Get rid of that dangly wire. So, where's the key? It must be internal. The actual switch has failed. Make sure it's not in gear. Do you think if it was a dodgy wire, it would have gone by now? Just nothing happening at all. Okay, so what I need to do is, I can't find another ignition switch in my garage for now. So for now, I'm going to find which wire is the starter wire, the one that does the cranking. I'm not sure. I'm going to see what colour one is on the solenoid, and that should tell me which one is for the crank. And then I can try and fit a little switch. There's a couple of holes there. I can fit a starter switch somewhere for him. I mean, it's got the fog light switch there. Is that fog light? I don't know what that is, because I don't think there is a fog light on the back. So maybe we can just get rid of that. I don't think it's doing anything. I don't know, what does that do? Let's put the ignition on and see what happens. Nothing. I think it's an old fog light or something. So we'll get rid of that and we'll put a little switch in there so he can start the car, I reckon. It's an inertia type starter. That's the starter motor, but it has a solenoid here. So these are main live cables because they're huge, okay? One will be going to the battery, which is that one, and that one there is going off to the starter motor. So when you turn the ignition switch, it switches a link between these two posts basically. So if we stuck a screwdriver between there and there, it would start, or crank shall I say. You've got another live cable here, not 100% sure where that's going to, but I think that has got to be alternator or dynamo shall I say. There'll be a regulator somewhere because this is dynamo. I don't know where the regulator is on this. I've not seen it. Oh, there it is. Oh, there it is. There you go. So that, yeah, that will be wires going to the regulator. Because this is the live feed to the battery, the regulator will be putting the voltage in, and it will be going up there and doing a little circle. Woo. So the wire we were looking for is the exciter wire, you might call it, and it's a red and white one there. So we need to go and find the red and white wire on the ignition switch now. And that should be the starter solenoid exciter wire. Let's have a look. Oh, in we get. Is there a red and white one? Yes, that one. So that should be a cranker. So if we put 12 volts to that, it should activate the solenoid. Right, so I've got my multimeter out. I'm on voltage at the minute. I've just wedged that under there to get an earth. And then if I just lean you on my knee, because I haven't got any camera stands with me apart from my windscreen mount. So there is your red and white, and I don't think you can see the meter. Yeah, you can see it just about. There is no voltage, which is correct. And then if we look here, look, I don't know if you can see, 12.8 volts. So that's alive, that big fat one, which is like brown and blue. So if we just try and wedge that up into there, right? And then get me a probe that's got a fuse in it. Right, again, make sure we're not in here. Don't spill the tea. We don't need the meter really. There's nothing to see now, because we're going to put the red lead into here. So basically that now gives me a live probe. So if I now go to here, as you can hear, it cranks. Alright, I won't do it too much because it will flood the engine. But now we know, by doing that, we know for sure that this wire going all the way to solenoid is fine. The only problem we've got is when we turn the key, it's not getting the live feed. It's meant to switch the live feed over to here, but it's not. So what we're going to do, we're going to bugger that off, get it out of there, and what we're going to do, we're going to put another connection, and we're going to make it go wee 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 all the way to this mystery switch, which I will check with Remi to make sure it doesn't actually do anything. And we're going to fit, hopefully, this, maybe if it fits in the hole, this switch. If not, I have some other switches available. Well, seeing as we know now that it's a dodgy switch, it still puts the ignition on. So I will put this ignition switch back and just leave that wire for the solenoid dangling, and we'll see about fitting a switch in. Just a temporary thing. Just so Remi doesn't have to keep climbing out and starting the car up under the bonnet. Bless him. Bloody hell. Learner car got a bit close there. Scary. I think we stalled it. Yeah, for any of you who think, oh, isn't that dodgy fitting a starter switch that you can just press without the key? Well, you still need the key to turn the ignition on. So you can press that crank button all day long, but without the ignition on, I'm scared of the learner. Without the ignition on, it would never start. Oh, that tea's not very nice. He's let it brew too long. Right. Yeah, I'm going to tighten this back up with me grips and my cloth, and then I'll get my wiring stuff out. I can't remember what I showed you now, but the fog light switch thing down here, Remi said does nothing at all. So there was 2 wires attached to the switch. This one does nothing, so I just chucked that up there. It's not live or anything. And then there was 1 wire, which I've got dangling down here now. That is actually live, a permanent live as well. So I'm going to stick that on the switch with the starter motor wire, and I've moved the switch holder over here, so it's right under the ignition switch, so it should be easy enough for him to flick it to start it. I might move it over a little bit though, because the keys are going to dangle down there and I don't want them to knock the switch on. But yeah, that's how it's going. So that way I don't have to make any wires up. I connect them straight up and Bob's your uncle. Okay, so the switch bracket's in there. It's about as good as it's going to get. Unfortunately, I haven't got any one-touch switches, and I might have been able to take this apart and get a spring in it or something, but I'll just have to trust that Remi can be and turn it off again. Otherwise, you know, ideally you'd want it to bounce, so you go and when you let go of the switch it bounces back, but for some reason I haven't got any like that. And the Rover P4 starter switch I've got is huge, and it wouldn't fit in the switch holder, so that's a bit tight now with that wire. Where's it go? Oh, I see, it's trapped around here. Aha, there we go. That's better. That's good. What was I saying? I can't remember now. Just about the have I got the switch around the right way? Yay! So this should crank now. Yay! So all Remi has to do is ignition key, ignition on. Oh, I know it's that. That's it. Flick down and then flick up when it's started. Ooh, and it seems to be running nice as well, and it's cooled down. Okay, wow. At least Remi had got a mess about under the bonnet. I think that is a bit of an old aerial, which I don't know where the aerial was, but it's just lingering down here. It disappears. I thought, oh yeah, the aerial's in the back. Let's tuck that out of the way. There you go. And that's it. Off. Lovely job. Today's bodge. I'll show it to you, hang on. There we go, so that's that rusty old switch panel that was over there with the fog light switch on that didn't do anything. So now it's got the starter solenoid wire on there and some live cable, which I don't know where it comes from or anything, but It's a live cable. It'll do. All it's got to do is do a couple of cranks. So, and not a lot of power goes through it. It's just an exciter wire. All the power goes through the thick cables under the bonnet. So yeah, really, he needs a new ignition switch. But I bet you any money he doesn't bother, and he just carries on with his little switch. Right, I'm going to pack up. It's getting dark and cold now. Nice short video anyway. Thanks for watching. Bye. And what has Remi been doing since I've been fixing his car? Oh my god.
Making a mess.
Yeah. That's a lot of small bricks. A big brick playing with small bricks.
What are you trying to infer?
Oh, you know. Living the life of luxury out here. Looks bad, doesn't it? I'm out there in the cold getting dirty, fixing his car. You can run me a bath now.
I can.